So today's video is going to be last minute revision tips. I know it's a little while until like November retakes and that, but this is more sort of if you come and look at this in a couple of weeks' time, what to do. The best thing to do is your phone. You don't want notifications popping up, they will distract you. This, you need to put it away, because that is what's going to get you a better grade. Wherever you go to study, put your phone away. Give your phone to someone else, hide it under your duvet, because the energy of finding your phone, you will realise, I can't be bothered to do that. Block websites, because that is you using your energy to block and deciding I'm going to do some work. Plan your time, whether it's a timetable, to-do list, checklist. I use to-do lists so much, like just sort of so that I can keep my academic things and my non-academic things sorted and getting that achieved. Because you often have random non-academic things you need to do. Get your spec, think about how many weeks you have, and think about how much you need to do. Example, I have 5 weeks, so I need to do a chapter every 2 days, and that will get me to the end. You need to make sure you've gone over it. Subjects like history, there is so much information. Cover the big topics, and then if you cover the big topics, then if you have time, cover the little topics. With little time, it's going to be a squeeze to cover everything. If you've learnt it and you're just going over it, then it won't be. So spend less time on the stuff you know and spend more time on the stuff you don't know. This is how to have smart revision. If you're literally covering it for the first time for whatever reason, like you missed a lesson or you didn't pay attention in class or whatever, you're going to need to grasp the big concept before you grasp the little details, because that is what's going to help you. You need to buy actual revision guides for your exam board. Textbooks, forget it. We have not got time. You need to be getting the revision guide, because it condenses it down into like the bigger things you need to know, and I didn't personally use them, but that's because I was kind of a bit more on top of it, so I didn't really need to, but I would suggest getting them because it condenses it down to the bigger topics, and they simplify it, condense it down, look at the concept page and then the headers. You're not going to be able to go into depth with we're in last minute revision, so we need to be prioritise. Brainstorm, or as I would call it on this channel, blurting. Get your A3 paper, have somewhere to put all your revision for the day in when you go to study. Wherever you go, stationery, make sure you have all your stationery so you can be productive, because you don't want to think, oh shit, I forgot something, and then you end up not being productive because you have to go back home and get it, and then you can't be bothered to go back to the library again. Be organised, look for the trends in past papers, because in subjects there are only so many questions they can ask you, so just look for the trends. If you notice something like, an example, how to find a percentage in maths, then you will need to know it. Play to your strengths. If you've noticed, it's been like a good 5-6 years since they asked about a question to do with candy, then you probably need to know that. And examiner's reports, which I personally didn't use, but every study tuber I watch recommends it. Ibs, Mo, Eve Bennett, the lot. At this point, you need to focus on your exam technique rather than knowledge at this point. Recap before we move on. Notice the trends, focus on your exam technique, read examiner's reports, and look at mark schemes. Know your mark schemes. Make sure you know what the mark scheme is asking you, because What we don't want is you to go into the exam and think, I've written something so perfectly logical, and then you realise, oh shit, the mark scheme is saying something completely different, and then you think, oh, didn't get that right. Now it's time to focus on those exam skills. Hopefully you will know a lot, but bye-bye to focusing on knowledge. Hello to focusing on exam skills. Get examiner's reports, get mark schemes, be able to find out what does the examiner want, become the examiner in a way. Get example answers and get example essays so you can see what they write in their answer and how many quotes people use in their English literature essays, because a lot of people probably just use like one quote and just focus on that one quote. Like there's not like loads and loads of quotes you need to learn, so just learn as many as you can and just sort of use just one if you really in the exam, I would say, because a lot of people probably just like use one or two. Look at them and look at your work and think, what are they doing to get an A star, and think, what am I not doing which is stopping me from getting that A star. Have their work, highlight on them what do you think is good and add it to your work. Learn from others who have got A stars which you want to apply what you're doing to yours, and hopefully you will get an A star or whatever grade you want, but that's just an example, an A star. You need to also get into the examiner's head. You need to remember essays are different in class to exam essays. You need to think like the examiner. The teachers may have a special niche they may want, but to be honest, the examiner may not be looking for that, so you need to focus on the examiner at this point. Every night you do your flashcards, mind maps, you need to do a past paper. Now it has come to the time where you have to perform well. Your marks, your exams, your past papers, that is what will predict that. If you get a bad grade, move past it. I have a whole video on my channel about not letting grades define you, and I've forgotten I have a cup of tea. Hydration, people, when you're revising, hydration. They are important, and before I get loads of comments saying I don't have any past papers or I've run out of past papers for the new spec. Okay, I get that. But do the old spec past papers. The topic aren't the same, but they're still practicing your skills. Like I went hunting for past papers for English GCSE on the internet and I found the bit. So if I can find something, you can find something. If you're desperate, ask your teacher to make them up for you. Do them, give them to your teacher, and get your teacher to mark them according to the mark scheme. Make your own past papers, use old spec topics but use new spec mark scheme. Adapt the question for the new spec. If the old spec had an 18 marker and the new spec is a 25 marker, just write 25 marks next to it. It's that simple. To understand, revision is important, but so is your well-being. Sometimes there is a thing as too much revision. You need a break. You need to do other things. You obviously want to work hard now, but it's not the end. GCSEs and A-levels are not the end of the world. They do not define you. There's other things that define you as a person that make you employable, not just qualifications. Just need to understand education is important, but so too is your well-being. As long as you are comfortable and happy with your grade, that's what matters. If people are not happy, then they should be happy because you're happy with your grade. As long as you know you did your best, and that's all you could do. Exams are closer, don't panic. You sat the exam, that's something you should be proud of because it takes a lot to be able to sit the exam. If you panic and think I know nothing, first of all you won't know nothing. Second, make the best of your time. Live in the moment and think what you can do. That is all you really need to do. Like, teachers will be happy if you get a grade that you're happy with. Like, that's really all that matters at the end of the day, is you get a grade you're happy with. And then you will be fine. So I hope this is a good video. I've tried to sort of do some good tips. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in another video at some point.